So if you're watching this video, there's probably a good chance you're also skimming other social media outlets, watching awesome goalies make sick saves, slide around like butter, and make wide-ass butterfly saves. And part of you is probably a little bit disappointed that you can't play as well as that person that you're seeing on that screen of yours. So what I'm going to talk about today in this video is my own personal struggles trying to relearn the modern goaltending game as a 40-plus goaltender. So when I started this channel about 8 months ago, I really wanted to document my journey into improving and being a better goaltender, especially when it came to the modern day butterfly goalie. So fast forward 8 months to now, I can honestly tell you it's been an absolute struggle. It's been frustrating at times. There's certain times where I'm just not motivated to train or hit the ice. And it's mostly frustrating when you think you're doing all the right things, but when you hit the ice, you don't really see the results. So this video is going to address a bunch of ego-driven thoughts that have, I think, prevented me from pushing my game a little bit further. So if you've been following the channel for the last handful of months, I've pretty much given myself every chance to succeed as being a goaltender. So I've gone to physiotherapy, I've taken private lessons with a coach, I've ordered an entire custom set of Bauer gear, I've been on a really strict stretching and workout routine. I attend public skates at least once a week to work on my skating and any type of skills that I need to work on. And through this entire journey, I'm absolutely shell-shocked on how difficult it is to actually be a goaltender. And I feel that today with social media, it's easy to kind of get down on yourself because goalies tend to only share highlight reel saves or success stories. But you don't really ever hear about the struggle and thousands of hours of training that went up to that highlight reel save. So this is going to be a little bit of an old man rant. So instead of me putting on a highlight reel of awesome saves, I'm going to put on a low light reel while I open up and share with all of you my ego-driven thoughts that I feel have really hindered my progress into becoming a better goaltender. And while we're at it, let me know in the comments below if you also have these similar thoughts or any type of grievances that you have about being a goaltender. Thinking you're better than you actually are. Through the majority of my time as a goalie, I would never want to play beginner hockey or with slower groups. I've always had it in my head that I can play in higher divisions and that I actually perform better against higher skilled players. There's something just about stopping a high skilled shooter that just boosts your ego. During our Direwolf season, I would also sub in a different league, which was much higher skilled, and I got completely roasted. Even though I thought I was good enough to compete. I'm not even joking, my record was I believe 1-7 with a goals against of 8. And I let in 10 goals I think twice. Now the problem with this attitude that I find is when you play in a higher tempo than your body can actually handle, you get sloppy and uncontrolled. And sure, you might make some good saves by throwing your body at the puck, but it gives you a false sense of success. Sure, you made the save, half your body was sprawled out, you closed your eyes hoping for the best. Not only does this lead to think that you're better than lower divisions, but it also leads to poor habits. Now when you play with groups that are the right tempo, it actually allows you to be controlled with your movements and build good habits. This is something that I'm actually really struggling to admit and come to terms with, but I'm actually looking to play in lower divisions now. That way I can work on making my movements and habits more precise and clean. My butterfly isn't wide enough. How many of you out there have actually said this to yourself? I need to be wider, I need to be more flexible. If only I had more flair, I would make more saves. Now don't get me wrong, having more butterfly can help, but there comes a time where you have to accept your body for what it is, especially as you get older. Can't even tell you how many times I told myself, I totally would have gotten that shot if I was more flexible. I even went to my physiotherapist specifically to tell them to give me a wider butterfly flare. Don't forget that having a narrow butterfly is not the end of the world. There was this guy that you might have heard of, I think he won a Stanley Cup, he has a really narrow butterfly. I think his name is J.S. Giguere. So what I used to do in the evenings was essentially hook my legs up to exercise bands and torture myself trying to get my flare wider. But instead, now I've focused on mobility around the crease, because if you get square to the puck quick enough, all you need to do is drop and your narrow butterfly won't even matter. I've also learned that to be a good goalie, you also need to focus on your body as a whole, not just one aspect like a wide flare. Because if you have a nagging back like I did, and all you're doing each night is trying to do the splits, you're not really doing yourself any favors. Get your whole body feeling good first before trying to push its limits. New gear does not make you better. Take it from me, I've had dozens of sets of goalie pads through the years, from entry-level stuff to pro returns to my recent full custom set. Now, the reason that I got new gear so frequently, and I had to really think about this, is because after a poor game I would tell myself, well, if I had pads like Demko or Bobrovsky, I would be so much better. And you know what? That new gear placebo does kind of work. It's like buying experience points, like adding a plus 10 to your kick save upgrade. But after a while it wears off and old habits can kick in. And don't get me wrong, a new set of gear that's more comfortable will definitely help. And of course, upgrading with new technology adds a boost here and there. But really, it all boils down to blaming something for poor performance. And blaming gear is easy, and so is buying new gear. There's no hard work involved in buying gear other than saving up a bit of cash. Actually, working on the fundamentals is hard work. So in some delusional way, I would think that I could bypass all that hard work by just getting a fresh set of gear. Now, take it from me, I probably have the best gear a normal human can buy currently, and yet I'm still the same shitty goalie that I was a year ago. The difference now is I don't have any more excuses, I cannot blame my gear anymore, so all I can do now is work hard. I need to be the best goalie every night. Now, the last few months during shinnies have absolutely sucked. I've been really self-conscious every time I skate because I'm always trying to do everything perfectly, or I'm trying some new gear setup like tweaking straps and lacing. Doing all this experimentation, although necessary, can also lead to some really bad goaltending, as you're seeing here in these clips. But when you're learning or relearning anything, there's always going to be a suckage period. I was actually taught to call this the valley of the suck. And really, it's how you power through this suckage period and emerge through and become a better version of yourself. So years ago, when I was getting back into playing ice hockey, I think there was actually a period of time where I had 0 wins in a course of 8 months of action. You heard that right. 0 wins in 8 months. In the past 6 months of shinnies, I've actually lost every match that I've had against the other goaltender up until recently, where I'm starting to finally win some of my shinny games. I mean, they don't really count, but mentally it's a bit draining to always lose those. So really the key takeaway here is embrace being shitty and ask yourself every single day what you can do to get 1% better today. And over time, things will just turn around. You'll start making those saves, you'll start winning those games, and emerge a better goaltender. That is, of course, until the next Valley of Suck hits. Why am I sharing all this with you? Could be the heat getting to my head, but I know if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, you're not alone in being a goalie that's trying to improve, and it's okay to have struggles and failures. You're not alone in that. So definitely let us know in the comments below if you also have struggles and failures along the way. On the flip side, the last handful of sessions on the ice, I felt like a completely new goalie. In a way, I finally made a big leap in my game and starting to actually see some of the hard work finally pay off. And that's something that I'm going to share with all of you in the next follow-up video, where I'll talk about what are some of the things that I actually work on during public skate. And these are just some small on-ice adjustments that any goalie can make right away. So until the next video, thank you so much for watching. Stay cool out there, I know it's a hot one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.